Sorry, didn't realize that would stop the video. My cat was misbehaving. Here comes the other one. Stay over there. Yes, I see you, Dante. Okay. So as I was saying, and this will be one of the questions, uh, they've done factor analysis research, and factor analysis research is basically where you take something, you break it down into all its different factors, and then you analyze what each one does. We usually see this with performance psychology, or what we call industrial organizational psychology. And this is basically the psychology of work and being productive. And, they study things like if you have a job, not you personally have a job, but you as an employer have a job that you need to fill. Well, they'll tell you, they'll examine somebody who's doing that job well, and they'll figure out um, what kind of person is good at that job, and then they actually um, can give them tests, and they can see where they score in the test, and then they can um, say, okay, somebody who would be good at this job will test high on this scale, and low on this one, and high on that one. And yeah, so that's why they call it factor analysis, because you actually analyze different factors. Anyway, through that research, uh, Shaman has discovered 5 primary powers of the sage, positive part of your brain. And those 5 primary powers are empathize, explore, innovate, navigate, and activate. And he talks about it briefly in the video. So that will definitely be one of the questions on the email. What are the 5 powers? The third thing is the self-command muscle. You're in full command of your mind. He doesn't talk about this very much in the video, though. If you were, you would just, sorry, you were not in full command of your mind. If you were, you would choose to entirely silence the saboteurs in your head. You would choose to not stress out over what you can't control, push away self-doubts, recover from disappointments immediately, and spend little time in anger, regret, or blame. And remember, I'm reading this directly from his website. And I gave you in the other video, I gave you the actual URL for it. By all means, if you can afford that program, do it. Like, seriously, it's a great program. It's the kind of program that I always thought about making. Anyway, your self-command muscle is basically the part of the brain that we're talking about when we talk about mindfulness. That's all it is. It's just a different word for mindfulness. He calls it self-command muscle. We call it mindfulness. And what mindfulness does is it gives us the ability to stop thinking and concentrate, or not stop thinking, but stop the brain from just randomly thinking, which is a subconscious. That's a part of your brain that you can't control. And then make it so that you can control your thoughts by focusing on something specific. And so what we focus on is usually the simplest thing in the world, which is breathing. I mean, you guys can go onto YouTube and search high blood pressure breathing meditation. And all it is it plays a tone when you should breathe in, and it plays a tone when you should breathe out. And if you do this for 15 minutes a day, your blood pressure goes down. And I really should do that because I have high blood pressure, and I wouldn't have to take my, whatchamacallit, my meds anymore if I did that. Because then my blood pressure would be completely under my control, because you can do shit like that when you practice mindfulness. So, all these things, mindfulness, we've proven over and over and over again that it increases the strength of your brain. It increases your gray matter in the frontal cortex, which is where the you part of the brain lives. It decreases the gray matter in the other part of the brain, the lizard and mammal parts of the brain. That's a survival part of the brain. That part of the brain, oh, I got a white hair. That part of the brain is the part of the brain that doesn't care if you're stressed out or not, because it's like, oh, you got to survive. You got to survive. You got to survive. You got to survive. It just kind of goes nuts. we have to learn how to continually, like, continually grow as a person, grow our mind. So, the questions for today are, what are the 5 primary powers? Name 3 of the factors of, or not factors, but aspects of the saboteur, and describe how, in like less than 2 or 3 sentences, describe how you visualize your inner sage, the part of your brain that is empathetic and, you know, has gratitude, curiosity, creativity, self-confidence. It's calm, clear-headed. The part of you that can focus. Those are your 3 questions. What are the 5 primary powers? Give me 3 of the aspects of the saboteur, and briefly describe how the sage is in your life. The problem is our inner critics are pretty strong. It's your inner critic that keeps you from being mindful. And again, PQ, it's just another word for mindfulness. It's just, I came up with a new word to call it so I can make money off of it, and that's basically what he did. But yeah, he totally ripped off mindfulness. I mean, these are not novel concepts. You know, they've been around for thousands of years. Our society, our modern society, just sucks at using them. Who are you calling? Who are you calling? Hold on, my cat's calling somebody. Seriously? No. Okay. Turn that off. Stop calling that Stop calling 911. You're fine. Okay. And yeah, the other video is just the one I really like. It's obviously not as scientific, or not gonna throw a bunch of jargon and new words at you like Shamans does. Shaman, something like that. But it's a good video. So, you know, watch those 2. Watch these. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.